Hello VC, Bradley here. I just want to show you some songbooks that I have. They're for playing piano or organ or guitar. It's sheet music basically, but they are compiled into books that are related to specific albums. But the first one I'm going to show you is it's a Beatles compilation, which I tore all the pages out of this book because over the years I've had it for like, I don't know, 45 years, whatever, and the book kind of disintegrated. But anyhow, it's got some really good art in here that'll be a little interesting. This is called The Beatles Complete. Okay, this has, I think, every Lennon and McCartney composition along with George Harrison's compositions. And they're, the sheet music in this book, it's dumbed down a little bit. It doesn't have the original transcriptions, you know. But it's not one of them really dumbed down versions, which I'll show you an example of the I Feel Fine. You know, they have the chorus and verses and all this. So usually the song will be on 1 or 2 pages. But anyhow, this particular book, I got that in Zurich, Switzerland. In 1972, I was 17 years old. I was on a European trip with my parents, so we went to Zurich for an evening, overnight stay, and I had started learning how to play organ. We had a Lowry organ, so we passed this music shop, and they had instruments and music books in there. I told Mom and Dad, I said, let's stop in there. So I did pick this up. It's really interesting. On the inside cover, it's got some neat little art with, you know, starting up here, the early Beatles. You can tell by the haircuts. Oh, they get down to Sgt. Pepper's down here, and their Let It Be stage where they have longer hair. So it's pretty neat. And the art in this magazine, fantastic artists, like airbrushings, a lot of them. I think he had a fetish for naked women. This is a table of contents. It shows a naked chick slipping into her naked clothing. So, that's pretty interesting. This next one, now it's called Sexy Sadie. Now, if you just look at it briefly, it looks like a face, you know, with the cheeks and lips. But if you look at it a little closer, I think that is a mammary gland and the belly. Pretty neat. And then we have a picture of George Harrison playing a guitar in the shape of a naked woman. Fantastic art. I love it. Let's see. This was in the center of the songbook, a nice centerfold. Beatles collage. This one is entitled I'm Only Sleeping. John and Yoko in bed. You can see this golden naked woman is being chased by Cookie Monster or whatever. Then, of course, we have Lady Madonna, Children at Your Breast. She's got her oven down there. Something's cooking in there. It's probably another child, I would imagine. This one is Tell Me What You See, the song. A mixed character, half female, half male. That's really wild art. Okay, then we have this one, I assume, is Piggies. The pig clutching his knife and fork on the naked woman table. And let's see, this last picture is entitled Helter Skelter. And what do you think is going to be in this photo? If you said naked woman, you're correct. Okay, it's entitled Helter Skelter. She's got the slide when she goes for a slide and a ride around her body, and it ends up down there in the southern regions. Anyhow, that's a really neat compilation of Beatles songs. You know, I played that book for years. Anyhow, this next songbook, I bought the album in the US, like I said. Then we took this European trip, and I actually bought this songbook in the same music store in Zurich. So this is Ram. There's the photo. There's the songbook. The back of the album, back of the songbook. Now in this this Ram, this was sold for, I think it means 1.25 pounds. So what are you talking about? $3.50, $4, which is, see, most of these songbooks throughout history, they would sell for pretty much what you paid for the album. That's how much these songbooks would cost. And usually the songs in these books were in the correct keys, and they had the complete song. Really very nice. Now this particular Ram has a decent amount of photos, which is really cool. You never see these photos anywhere. There's McCartney. Let's see. Okay, this one is, it says, With the Press at the Airport, photographed by Ethan Russell. It's the McCartney entourage, Linda and the kids, the airport. Let's see. Picture of Linda and Paul somewhere in this book, which, just give me a second. Oh yeah, this is the picture. This is entitled Arriving for Mick Jagger's Wedding at Saint-Tropez. This is really cool. I think John Lennon is behind Heather McCartney, maybe. I don't know if that's Denny Lane. I'm not sure who that is. Actually, it's very nice fold-out picture. There's a close-up. That might be Lennon. I don't know. Can't really tell. But very cool photographs. So that was the Ram album. by McCartney. This next one is by one of my favorite artists. It might be my second most favorite album, by Todd Rundgren. The album is Something, Anything. And the songbook is Something, Anything. Now these songbooks actually paid the writers of the songs, I think, very high royalties. You could make a lot more money by selling these songbooks, the sheet music, than what you did by selling records, because it was a separate publishing deal. Let's see. It has a few pictures in here. One interesting thing is this book is falling apart. In the center of the book, it's got a photo compilation of fan letters sent to Todd Rundgren. It's been a while since I've read this, but I'll just read part of one. This one right here says, "Just a letter of appreciation written on my knee. I have just heard of you for the first time tonight. I'm really glad because you're getting me high. I think your mind is the most beautiful mind," and then it kind of goes behind. I can't read the rest of the letter, but these are really cool, very cool fan letters. Let's see. And this doesn't have too many photos in this. Now, Something, Anything, it was a double album. It had I Saw the Light, Hello, It's Me. It's super pop album, pop masterpiece. 3 sides of the album are just Todd by himself in the studio. Like he did I Saw the Light. That's all him, nobody else. Now on the 4th side, which Hello, It's Me is on, the 4th side was recorded live in the studio. So, and this book sold for $3.95 in the USA. So, that's pretty cool. This next album, I saw this gentleman when he was on this tour. It's Peter Frampton, and that was around Halloween of 1976, I believe. So it was around Halloween. I remember that because there was pumpkins near the concert venue. Well, and I'll show you there's the songbook, Frampton Comes Alive. And there's the record. Now, 40 years later, from 1976, it'd be 2016, Halloween, 40 years almost to the day, I saw Peter Frampton again. He was doing an acoustic, just an acoustical show. It was him and his songwriting partner. I think Peter's son was also there. So anyhow, this one has a lot of cool pictures in here. There's the band. And like I say, these songbooks, the transcriptions were usually in the correct key and everything. And here's something I forgot about. It's in the back of this. It's a fold out. That's what the album cover looks like, which is really cool. Haven't looked at this book for quite a while. So that's pretty nice. This next album, Songbook, I think in 75 or somewhere around there, I like 10cc's I'm Not in Love. So I bought, the album was called The Original Soundtrack. And the next album that came out was this, which is one of my favorites to this day. I love 10cc. 10cc. How dare you? There's the back. There's the back of that. 10cc was an extremely talented British group that was much more famous in Europe and Britain than in the United States. Their lyrics were extremely witty. Let's see, I'll show you a couple. I think it has a couple pictures in here. Yeah. Here's Eric Stewart and Lowell Crane, two members of the band. There's the entire band. Got Eric Stewart over here, Lowell Crane, Graham Goldman, and Kevin Godley over here. Which Graham Goldman, in the 60s, he was like very young. I don't know if he was 18 or 19, but he wrote several songs for the Hollies, Bus Stop. I don't think it was on a Carousel. Bus Stop. Another Holly song. #1 hit. Wrote a couple for the Yardbirds, For Your Love. I can't think of the other one. Very famous songs. And then for Herman's Hermits, No Milk Today and Listen People. So he was, all the members of 10cc were extremely talented. And there's the inside of the album. So to this day, this album is one of my favorites. And the last album, and Songbook, probably around 75, 74, you have Daryl Hall and John Oates and the Songbook. It's really cool because they use the exact color and texture of the album. Silver. This has Sarah Smile on here. She's Gone. It was on, I think, Abandoned Luncheonette before this. This has several pictures. There's kind of like in concert. Let's see, they have a really good one of, where is it? Oh yeah. This was backstage at Madison Square Garden in October of 74. You got Mick Jagger, Todd Rundgren eating popcorn or something, and Hall & Oates. There's Todd over there on the side, Mick, Daryl Hall, John Oates. That was at Madison Square Garden. Now this songbook, it's got the whole album, plus they stuck in, which was really nice of them, She's Gone. the music and lyrics to She's Gone. Now this cost $4.95 for the songbook. At the time, the album would be just about the same price. Actually, the album was probably a couple bucks more. But these songbooks are, they would cost almost as much as the album, you know. And if you were a composer or the writer of these songs, you could really clean up by selling these sheet music and also these songbooks. The sheet music alone, where it would just be one song, you know, they were always, and to this day, it's very expensive. So most of that money, if not all, it goes to the publisher. Which if you have a good deal with the publisher, even say 50% or whatever, you know, the record company's not going to get any of this money. It's going to go to the publisher and whatever deal you have with the publisher. So, because back in the real old days, before records, that's how musicians made money, you know. They didn't have records, but they would sell sheet music of their songs. And then records came along, and they would still sell a lot of sheet music, because back in those days, you know, it was all like almost every house had a piano. So people would buy sheet music. So anyhow, that's my little songbook album collection vinyl. So this is Bradley. If you like this, subscribe or like it, whatever. So that's all for today. Goodbye.